joining me about 3 hours into my cash game project for today, Thursday, May 15, 2025. And this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer. If you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, thanks for coming by. And if you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. So the cash game project for today was removing what was already a clear out of an eviction. All the stuff was put out in the parking lot, and as you see on the inset, that was all the shit that greeted me. There's also a second half to that project in which I'm actually heading back to the location, in which I'm picking up items from a trash compactor. And then I'll be removing those items, and then that'll be the end of today's project. But that's not the reason for doing this segment of the Gig Geezer. So some of y'all are just not coming into the knowledge of my having invested in a box truck back in last October. So that's been 7 months ago now. In fact, today is about 7 months ago when I completed the purchase of it. And I can tell you that the maintenance of a box truck is not cheap. I have a fast friend who has a full suite of equipment as well. He has one more level of equipment than I do, and he's constantly telling me about the money that he's had to put out on a box truck. And if you check out other content creators, they'll tell you the same thing. It's not cheap. To this point, all I've had to do was invest in oil changes, replace a couple of clearance lights, and well, today I have to replace my left side dually rear tires. Dually rear tires, that means the rear wheels of the box truck has two wheels on each side, so that's what they're called dualies. If you check out pickup trucks with the wide backside, and they typically have dualies for greater towing capacity and better leverage with towing things. That's just my explanation. I'm pretty sure that there's a much more fluent way of describing that. But that said, I did an inspection of the truck before heading out today, and I wanted to put air in the left side tires because I noticed that they're a little low. But upon further inspection, the inside tire is balding, and the left side tire, the tread is pretty low. So as you see here on the inset, that is the estimate to replace two tires, brand new. Now, I'm certain that I could go other places. In fact, the fast friend that I described to you, he suggested I check out another place. And probably next time I will do that. I'm not saying that I've tried to be the stubborn old son of a bitch today. It's just that I need those tires because if I happen to come across a low board base opportunity later on, I want to be able to drive with the comfort level of knowing that if I'm in the middle of parts unknown, I'm good. I'm good, at least with my tires. So what I'll be doing today is taking you along to the second half of this cash game opportunity, at least when I'm loading up the items that I'll be taking away as well. In fact, these are the items I'll be taking away, and then also take you over to the place where I'll be having tires put on to the box truck. And by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. All right, so I am a few minutes removed from having completed this cash game opportunity. There were two parts to it because I had two loads to complete this project, and That's the first time I've had to take. It's required 2 loads, but there's always that potential. Fortunately for me, I have the option of a box truck to do what I'm doing. That said, I still have to go by the tire shop and get those get the left rear dualies put on. They're really the same size tire now. It's just that I've got to get those tires, and so once I complete unloading the truck, I'll go back by the tire shop and have them put on, and that's where we'll resume this conversation. But before we get to that point, what I do want to impress upon you are a couple of things, and it's not so much about the vehicle, it's about in doing cash game opportunities. You have to ask yourself, is this going to be just side hustle? Is this going to be side hustle money? Is this just going to be spare change? Or is this something that you think that you can actually scale up into an actual true business enterprise? And that's where a lot of businesses start. They start off doing things just for spare change, just side hustle money. And then they see where there's actually some viability in doing what they're doing and the potential of actually sustainability, something that can sustain them. Then they start looking into the other things that makes it a true business enterprise, something that's, for lack of better words, serious. So then, and as with a lot of us here on YouTube, a lot of us are at, we're all at certain points in what we're doing. To some, I may be much further along than another person, but then to another person, I'm not quite where some other established people are. So maybe I'm somewhere's in the middle. But that said, a couple of things that I think, at least from my experience, that can help you make some traction. A couple of things that you want to consider investing at some point. One of them is business cards. This is something that was talked about in my live stream last night with CJ Cargoman. And I've even mentioned it in recent Gig User segments with a recent cash game opportunity in which I delivered furniture for a customer of mine who has been a customer of mine for a couple years now. But it started, as I mentioned, it started with a gig app opportunity, but the actual interaction was, do you have a business card? And I'm like, sure. Here's a couple of my cards. And while it was several months passed before the customer called upon me, but she had my business cards to make that call. And I mentioned in the live stream that I've already drafted design of new business cards that I've just yet to purchase or reorder. But yes, I've got another set of business cards that I'm going to order. And no, this is something that I heard way back when I was a reporter, but it still applies. If you're in business and you do have business cards, if you're not reordering business cards, you may not be doing your job right. Because the whole purpose of, the whole purpose is that you're always trying to close, you're always trying to, what's the old term that they said in insurance? You're always prospecting. And part of the prospecting process is flipping those business cards. Another thing that you want to look into as you scale your cash game operations is the commercial insurance that goes with it. And this is something that can help you down the road. A, either to secure opportunities, or B, help you should a claim arise. And with respect to opportunity, depending on the type of clientele that you're going after, they're going to ask you whether you have commercial general liability. And it's going to be on you to say yay or nay. But if you do, it puts you in a better position of being considered. Another thing that you may want to consider at some point, depending on the type of work that you do, and I'm saying this based on 20 years plus and with licensure as an insurance agent, and with the last 10 plus years in property and casualty, you may want to look into commercial insurance. You don't have to get the $1 million liability amount like if you're doing when you're dealing with brokers, when you're dealing with brokered opportunities and brokers. But and it also, well, actually, I take that back. There are some gig apps that may require you to carry that type of insurance, the $1 million liability. But based on what, it all depends on what you're doing though. But if you're not dealing with those type of people, you can get you a commercial general liability policy and not have those high limits. But if you are required to have those high limits, you're just gonna have to shop around to find the best rates for your budget. And again, the reason why you want to look into it is because if you're in a claim situation and you're held liable, your insurance company may pay that claim for those people, but they won't pay for you. And also what they're going to do is revoke your policy because you've been going around with a personal policy for a vehicle that's been used for commercial purposes. Again, take it from somebody who's been in the business in some capacity for over 20 years. Actually, for almost 25 years to be exact. So what we'll do now is pick up the conversation from the tire shop. And again, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. All right, y'all, so I am done. I've got the tires put on, and I'd like to think that that would be one less thing that DOT would try to hit me up for if I were to be level 1 inspected. But also, it's a nice sigh of release. It's a nice feeling of relief knowing that that's been addressed. Given what I do, sometimes at night, sometimes I do have night opportunities. Last thing I need to experience is a tire going down somewhere in parts unknown in the middle of the night. So that is one of the costs. That is one of the costs among many in terms of ownership and operation of a box truck, tires. And then there's always the possibility of other shit going down. But so far for me, in my experience over the past 7 months, that is the most expensive outlay that I've had to this point. Tires. Now, more than likely, I will replace the right side tires at some point this summer as well. They need to be replaced. They're getting low on tread. And then sometime in October, when it's time for me for registration again, renewing the license plate, sometime in October when it's time for me to do registration, I will need to get an inspection, another annual inspection of the box truck. This is really no different than if you had ownership and operation of a Sprinter/cargo van, or for that matter, a personal vehicle and you're doing delivery and transport or whatever else. There's a cost of doing business. The questions are you in a position to address those concerns? And if you are in a position, are you willing to spend that money to make that investment? Because when you take care of your vehicle, it will take care of you when you definitely really need for it to take care of you. So with that, that's all I have to share for this segment of the Gig Geezer. If you like the content that's been provided in this segment or in any other segment, hit that subscribe button. Give my content a thumbs up. Share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane, as always. May your grind and may your hustle continue.